Aaron Rodgers is sitting unsigned right now. OTAs start May 18th. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a 42-year-old future Hall of Famer who visited the city this past weekend and still did not walk into the building. And Pittsburgh just made a move that could give him every reason not to come back. They traded their best wide receiver to Dallas. George Pickens is gone. The question everyone in Pittsburgh should be asking right now, did the front office just cost themselves their own quarterback? Let's be fair to the Steelers here. There were real reasons to move on from George Pickens. This was not a random decision. First, there was the money situation. Pickens was heading into the final year of his rookie deal, set to make just $3.65 million in 2025. He was going to hit free agency after the season and demand a major extension. That kind of negotiation, with a player who had already shown he could be difficult, was not a fight the Steelers wanted heading into 2026. Second, there was the behavior. Coach Mike Tomlin said it publicly, he's got to grow up in a hurry. That quote came after Pickens picked up 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties in one game against the Bengals. He also reportedly showed up late to the Christmas Day game against the Chiefs. He wore eye black with a message during a game against the Cowboys, and ended up with fewer snaps than usual. After the season ended, Tomlin said, "There's certainly obviously more room for growth there. That is coach speak for. We have a problem." Third, the roster had already changed. Pittsburgh acquired DK Metcalf from Seattle. They already had a big, physical, contested catch receiver. The position was covered at the top, and thence the Steelers moved to replace Pickens before they moved him. They traded for Michael Pittman Jr. from the Indianapolis Colts in March 2026, signing him to a 3-year, $59 million deal. Pittman had 80 catches, 784 yards, and a career-high 7 touchdowns in 2025. He is a reliable professional route runner. He does not cause problems. He shows up on time. So the Steelers' logic is not crazy. They got a 2026 third-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick for Pickens. They replaced him with a proven starter on a long-term deal. They cleared a headache off the roster. On paper, it looks like responsible management. But there is another side to this, and it matters a lot right now. Here is the problem with the Steelers' logic. It only works if Aaron Rodgers does not care about his weapons. Rodgers threw for 3,322 yards and 24 touchdowns last season. He led Pittsburgh to a 10-7 record and the AFC North title, the franchise's first division championship since 2020. He did all of that while playing the final 6 games with multiple fractures in his left wrist. And when you look at what carried that offense, Pickens was a major piece of it. Pittsburgh's third leading receiver last season had 372 yards, 372. That was the depth of the supporting cast behind the top options. Now, Pickens is in Dallas, Pittman Jr. is coming in, and Rodgers still has not signed. Think about this from Rodgers' perspective. You are 42 years old. You are deciding whether to play one more season. You went to Pittsburgh last year with one elite receiver and a thin supporting group behind him. You played hurt for 6 games. You got blown out in the wild card by the Texans, 17 of 33 for 146 yards with a pick 6 in what was one of the worst games of your career. Your season ended on a bad note, and now the best weapon you had is wearing a star on his helmet. You do not trade away a 24-year-old Pro Bowl wide receiver when you are trying to convince a 42-year-old quarterback to come back for one more season. Those two things do not go together. A young receiver is a reason to come back. A third-round pick is not. Before the 2025 season even started, Rodgers told Pat McAfee he would likely retire after it ended. He did not retire. Something kept pulling him back to the game. But at 42, what pulls a player back is not cap flexibility and future draft assets. It is the belief that the team around him is built to win right now. This move sends the opposite message. Here is what makes it worse. Pittsburgh used that third-round pick to draft Drew Allar, a quarterback from Penn State. So the return on George Pickens is a backup quarterback and a fifth-round pick from 2027. That is what Pittsburgh got back for a player who just made the Pro Bowl. And Rodgers knows exactly what that means. It means the front office is building for what comes after him. Draft picks and a developmental quarterback are not moves for 2026. They are moves for 2027 and 2028. Rodgers does not have a 2027 and 2028. Now let's talk about what Dallas actually got out of this trade. Because the number tells the story fast, George Pickens played one season with the Cowboys. One season, he had 93 catches, 1,429 receiving yards, and 9 touchdowns, all career highs by a wide margin. He averaged 15.4 yards per catch. He had 4 games with at least 130 receiving yards. He was the kind of deep threat who forces defenses to respect the whole field, which opens everything underneath for Lamb and everything over the middle for Prescott. He was the 3rd leading receiver in the entire NFL. He made the Pro Bowl. He earned second-team All-Pro honors. The Cowboys liked him so much they hit him with the franchise tag before the 2026 offseason even opened. CeeDee Lamb had a genuine running mate for the first time in his career, and the NFC East took notice immediately. The receiver who took notice the loudest was A.J. Brown of the Philadelphia Eagles. Brown did not hold back when the Pickens trade went down. He went on his own YouTube channel and said it straight. "I like that trade. I ain't gonna lie. We're going to have to worry about them, for sure." Stop and think about that. A.J. Brown plays for the Eagles, the team that beat the Cowboys twice last season by a combined score of 75-13. And he still sat down and told the world that Dallas with Pickens is a problem worth worrying about. Brown lines up against the best in the NFC East every single week. He is not easily impressed. The fact that he looked at a team he beat by 38 points and said they are now worth worrying about tells you exactly how much one elite receiver can shift the balance of power in a division. When the star receiver on the team you traded him away from says you need to worry about his new team, that tells you everything about what Pittsburgh gave up. Which brings us to the last question, the one that may end up reshaping the entire NFC East. Does the Pickens deal to Dallas speed up a trade away from Philadelphia for A.J. Brown? Look at what the Eagles just did. They traded up into the first round of the 2026 NFL Draft to take USC wide receiver Mekhi Lemon at number 20, the Biletnikoff Award winner. A slot receiver built to step in the moment Brown is gone. Brown has been public about his frustration with the organization. Trade rumors have been real all off-season. And now Philadelphia has his replacement already on the roster. If Brown gets traded this summer, every team in the NFC East upgrades at wide receiver at the same time. Dallas already has Pickens and Lamb. The team that lands Brown gets one of the top 5 receivers in the game. That is the ripple effect of one trade. Pittsburgh moved Pickens, Dallas got a superstar, and A.J. Brown started watching his replacement take his spot in Eagles training camp. And in the middle of all of it, Aaron Rodgers still has not signed. He was in Pittsburgh last weekend. He did not walk into the building. He has not put pen to paper. And the decision the Steelers made, the one meant to clean up the roster and get picks back, may have just made his decision harder, not easier. Pittsburgh wanted to be responsible. They wanted to cut a headache and get something back in return, but you cannot ask a 42-year-old quarterback to come back for one more run, and then trade away the best receiver he had in the same offseason. Pittsburgh may have just made a very clean roster decision, and it could end up costing them the one player they cannot afford to lose.